Hey guys, what's going on? Last week I broke down the Sound Design Showdown round one for the reverberators. And so this week I'm going to be breaking down round two. This is the quarterfinals for us, and suffice it to say, this was a lot of fun to make. But it was pretty disorganized as far as file management, and I think all three of us were talking about that in our group chat that we had. That this was probably the most unorganized that all three of us have ever been with a project, just because of the really fast turnaround, quick timeline, and sending things back and forth to each other. So anyway, this round, our prompt was alien sporting event, and when we initially got that, we were like, oh no, what do we do? Like, what do we do with this? How do we make this thing that is, foreign, sound in some way grounded for the listener? Because after all, we are all humans, and we need to sort of recognize, we need to have some sort of like concrete like anchoring to our world in order for it to come across effectively. And so one of us suggested some sort of volley type sport, and we went with something that was kind of like tennis, but wasn't quite tennis. And so here's what it sounds like, the final version of it. And yeah, we'll go from there. Cool. So this was just the final organization project. We just had all the stems put together, and then I lined them all up, and bounced the final mix out. And so let's dive in specifically into the specific stems. Now, I don't have all of the stems. I didn't make all of the stems, but I did make most of them. I shouldn't even say that. I made like half of them. And so let's just go from left to right. Let's start with that. So I began with the stadium music that happens towards the tail end, and it's kind of, it sounds like it's in an arena. So here's how that sounds just on its own. It doesn't have any like spatial processing. This is just what I came up with. Right. So it's very basic. I got this hi-hat snare loop here. Right, along with this snare and kick loop. And I thought those put together right. So I loved that right away. And I think the reason why I went down this particular like bass house kind of thing was I was thinking a lot about Guardians of the Galaxy, and that particular scene where Yondu is in some sort of like club or like bar or something. And I was thinking about that, and if that place had music going on, what that would sound like. Because there were so many different like kinds of alien life forms that were all there at this like congregation place. And so what that music would kind of sound like, but still keeping it grounded in the music that we have here on Earth. And so that's what I went for. And so anyway, I added on the this like bass synth loop. Right. And originally it was actually shifted over. Let's try that again. Originally it was shifted over like that. And it didn't quite sit right with me. Right. And so I just backed it up by a 16th note, shifted it back. I kind of hit a lot harder than originally would have, right? And so now I added in this vocal track here. It was just a hook that I have somewhere. I think I got it off of Splice. And here's how it sounds originally, because I reversed it. If I actually solo it.
I love the way my body's moving to the beat. I love the way you're slowly getting close to me.
Right. And so I reversed it. And then I put on this little plug-in, little alter boy, pitched it down 12 semitones, and I just tweaked the format just enough to make it not sound too synthetic. And so this is what I came up with. And so I needed to also clean it up a little bit. Yeah, because there were some reverb moments. There's some reverb moments that I didn't want to happen here. And so everything together. Right. Unfortunately, whenever I processed it spatially, I ended up losing the vocals a little bit in the mix, and that's fine. It worked out just fine. But I went through all of that effort only for you to not be able to hear it. But that's how it goes sometimes. So moving on to the actual serving, the serve sound, because we had this, we sort of had like a storyboard to go with. We were thinking about, have an announcer, he says a thing, it starts the game. And then you hear the first volley and it goes from one direction to the other, panning wise, and then the second volley on the way back, panning back, and then the third volley was like we hit it, but it was the cinematic like slow down moment just before it's about to hit, I don't know, probably the ground, just like tennis, to where the opponent can't volley it back. So that alien, whoever volleyed it the third time, got the point. And then we heard like a bell that signified a point and an announcer in the stadium. And when that happens, then the music kicks in and everyone in the audience starts cheering and then clapping along to the music. That was kind of like what we had as far as a plan or like a blueprint almost for all of these sounds. So this was the serving sound. That is not the serving sound. This is the serving sound. And I made 3 different versions of it. So this was the first hit, and the second hit, and then the third hit, which is the cool. So with all of these hits, I actually took some real tennis sounds. So this was a tennis racket hitting a ball, or sorry, it's swishing, just a swish, very easy. And then this was hitting a ball from far away, and I had to grain delay and warble it a little bit to make it a little bit more alien. So without that processing, it's just a normal, like from far away, someone hitting a tennis ball. And then an electric whoosh with a little bit of like a Doppler effect as it's whizzing past. So I was thinking of it as sort of this like energy ball that has this like, sparkling electricity surrounding it. And then a racket just hitting the ball itself, just really up close. And that's it. And then an impact sound, which I think I got from, I'm not sure where I got this impact from, like what sample library I took it from or what, but it fit, it worked. And so everything together, let's actually just start with just the normal tennis hits without any processing. Right, that's it. With the warble, and then all of the alien stuff on top of that. Cool. Same deal with the second one. It was just different whooshes, different hits, just to create some variety, some variation. And then on the third one, I had this little magic electricity spell sound. And that's it. And then a cinematic impact after that to signify slowing everything down. And then finally, our final hit right here, including a laser beam. Like that. Like that. Cool. So now we had to introduce some crowd noise. This is also, see, like what I said, it was very poorly organized. This was some digital crowd noise. It's not really people, it's just like artificial noise happening. It just kind of sounds a lot like a crowd. And then some commotion happening. And that is very subtly in the mix, in the final thing. Just so that there's no like actual complete silence. See, volley with variation, that is what this should all be. That's like where that should be in the project, but it's not because I'm dumb. And then finally the big hit, that final volley, once it hits the ground probably, was a bunch of layers of explosions and impacts and everything. So one at a time. There's that. Cannonball. And this like nice crunchy like debris, like metal and wood debris. Or rock, I should say, not wood. And then that explosion, which had some sort of echo to it. And that worked out really nicely together. To create the sensation or the feeling of this energy ball finally hitting and exploding. And when I took that and had like the crowd cheering and then music starting at the end, I was thinking of Rocket League, so that kind of has a similar pacing to how Rocket League sounds whenever you score a goal. Um, and then the score indicator, which has absolutely nothing. I didn't make it yet at the time whenever I had this. And then finally the crowd clapping. Yeah. I don't know where that skipped, but it skipped somewhere, and I remember dealing with that issue. But that was the crowd clapping towards the end of the final clip that we had submitted. So now, moving over to Reaper, that's where I organized everything in its space, and I got some more stems from Jess and from Connor. Jess made these really awesome alien voices. And that's sort of blended in there with the rest of the crowd that I had, so that it felt a little bit more natural. Because here, oh yeah, and there's that little horn that Connor made, and yeah, unfortunately I don't have those stems, but I do have some stuff from Jess in here, like these whooshes that she made to sort of enhance the swinging of whatever racket or whatever we have that alien has, right? And they're panned appropriately. And then final swish. And then Jess made another alien voice, which is so cool, right? And then the ball itself hovering, like whizzing through the air. Right? So everything together cool. Yeah, and sorry, this was the project that has everything from me space, like laid out within our 15-second time frame. And the stadium music just has some EQ roll off on the upper frequencies, because that's how sound works, and then drowned in reverb. That's all. So yeah, and then some panning stuff, and that pretty much is it. I hope you enjoyed this one. My third and final breakdown, which will be a lot shorter, I promise, than the past two videos, will be releasing a week from today. And so stay tuned for that, and have a good day. Thanks for watching. Bye.